Donald Trump reacting again to the verdict this afternoon that found him liable for sexual abuse. He reacted on his Truth social media account, posting in all caps, "Very unfair trial!" Exclamation point.
I've had a lot of analysis thoughts here. Number one, nothing we heard in this trial is really revelatory. A lot of things we found out about Donald Trump we already knew, and Republicans nominated him twice, and he's a front runner for a third time. That's number one. Number two, I think a lot of Republicans will rationalize this by saying, well, it happened in New York, and you can find a jury in New York to find Donald Trump guilty of anything. And number three, a lot of Republicans are going to say, oh, we're now taking mid-90s sexual accusations seriously in our politics. So that's what you're going to hear out of the people who support him. I think this gets thrown in the bag with the Bragg indictment, whatever happens in Georgia, January 6th, the documents, and by the time we start voting, that bag's going to feel pretty heavy to a lot of Republicans, and as Alyssa said, a lot of Republican women, I assume, will agree.
And Ashley, obviously, as both Alyssa and Scott have alluded to, E Jean Carroll is hardly the first woman to publicly accuse Donald Trump of sexually assaulting her. In fact, we know of at least 12 other women who have accused him of sexual harassment or sexual assault or sexual misconduct. We heard from one of them earlier in the hour, Natasha Stoynoff, who testified in the E Jean Carroll case. It doesn't seem to have an impact significantly enough to not make him competitive.
Well, first, I think that this is important for sexual assault survivors to see that no one is above the law, and that if you sexually assault someone, even if you are the former president of the United States, you can be held liable. So I think that's the first point. I do think, though, the tapes, the Access Hollywood tapes that played in 2016 were very damning, and yet some people said, oh, that was just locker room talk. Well, now in a deposition, we have Donald Trump saying, no, that's actually the way it is. I do think I'm larger than life and I'm above the law. And I think many women voters and honestly male voters who supported him in 2016, who then came over to Joe Biden in 2020, will stay on the Democratic side if he is the Republican nominee. But also those folks who might not have been engaged will say, I don't want someone like this representing my country, and be more engaged. The final point I would say to Scott's comment about the 90s is, like, we have a whole new electorate right now. I couldn't even vote then. And so the way we view sexual assault and the importance of holding people accountable, I think will play. So young people, women, and people who believe survivors will play a factor in this 2024 race. We still have a long ways to go. It might not prevent him from being the Republican nominee, but I think it could stop him from being the next president again.